Guys, look at that. Beautiful shrimp, snow pea, and grape tomatoes. Pan seared with all the right seasonings. Guys, wait till you taste this. You're gonna be blown away. Well, howdy folks, welcome back to Texas Cooking Today. On this episode, we're going to be making a magnificent tasting dish. We're going to be cooking with some shrimp. And if you're wondering if Texas has anything to do with shrimp, come on, give me a break. We have hundreds and, well, I'm not going to boast about our coastline. I'm just going to say there is a lot of coastline between the Gulf of Mexico and Texas, okay? So I tell you what, we have a lot to do with shrimp. And this is a magnificent dish. We're gonna be using some snow peas and some grape tomatoes, and we're gonna pan sear it up with these shrimp seasoned just the right way. When it's done right, this dish pops. It's unbelievably good. So guys, come over this way, and let's get busy making snow peas and shrimp pan seared. This is a fabulous special. Come on over. Now guys, of course, the star of our dish over here are shrimp. We have some large shrimp here. These are about a 19, 20 count size shrimp. So they're a good, what they call large shrimp. We're going to take them out of their shell and the feet and tails off of them to cook this up. I don't like having to pick through my food to get tails off of shrimp, and I think it's rude when a chef gives me that in a restaurant. I hate it. We're going to be adding also snow peas, and we're going to be using grape tomatoes, these beautiful little red tomatoes. We're going to slice them in half, pan sear all of that up together with some ginger, garlic, and soy sauce. And I'm going to be using a bit of peanut oil to cook that in. Now, of course, if you're allergic to peanuts, you don't want to use the peanut oil. So, fabulous flavor. Otherwise, you need to give it a try. Tell you what, guys, let's get on with fixing the shrimp and cooking this guy up. Okay guys, let me show you something about the shrimp that I bought. Now I purchased shrimp that had been deveined, meaning that they, when they were processing this shrimp, they would cut off the head and then they made a slice down the back of the shrimp and pulled out that black vein that's right back there. If you have a whole shrimp that hasn't been deveined, what you need to do to remove the shell and that vein, and it's really easy guys, all you have to do is first pluck off these legs and then turn him around and pull the shell off this way. Just pinch it and it slides right up and off of there. Once your shrimp is kind of naked down to the tail section, this part will stay on. Then you grab that vein right up here and just gently pull. And when you gently pull, that vein will slide right out of the whole shrimp, okay? They don't normally do that because it takes slightly longer than just quickly running a knife over it and jerking it out. So this is one way of processing it. When it has been deveined like this, instead of pulling the legs off and then removing the shell from the back, all you have to do is squeeze the legs and the shell together and they will come off all in one, just like that. And of course, once you get it down to where the tail is, that tail likes to hang on from here back. So there's something else, let me show you. I have a bowl for my shells there. To get this tail off, and you need to know there is a little piece of meat that comes from the tail out into this part back here. I like to try to get that little talon. I don't always get it, but I like to try. And one way to do that is first break the lower shell open just like this so that it comes free like that. Then grab the tip, very tip of these and gently pull. There we go. You see how I got the whole tail meat on that whole talon? That isn't shell, folks. That is actual, true meat right there. Let me clean them up. So if you're careful, you can catch that. And that's just sort of the mark of a chef that really gave a damn about what they were doing. They were careful with their food. Anytime I go to a restaurant and I see that, I'm like, somebody here's been trained. Boom, got the tail. Now we're ready to go with our shrimp. All I have to do is get over to the cooking station and get busy making all this. Okay guys, first thing we need to do before I can make this dish is I gotta process my garlic. So let me remove a clove there. Now guys, let me tell you something about taking paper off of garlic. It's not a terribly difficult thing. Grip the clove between your thumb and first finger in both hands and gently twist in both directions while firmly grasping it. Now you don't want to twist so hard that you break the meat on the inside. You're just looking for the crackling sound to occur, and when that happens, that's that paper breaking free. Hear that? A little bit of flexing, and boom. Let me grab the tip. There it goes. You hear that? Broke free. That's all there is to removing the paper from garlic. And let me tell you something, that was a stubborn one. That was one that had the paper stuck to it real good. Now, we're gonna have to mince this up. I could slice this, but I don't want slices of garlic in this dish. I want just a real super fine mince. I want to reposition this so you can see better. And I'm going to show you my technique. First off, you're going to need a really sharp knife. That's what I have here, with about a 8-inch blade, 7 or 8-inch blade, something that doesn't curve too much. Okay, a little curve is fine, but not too much curve. And the technique I'm going to use is going to be a rocking technique. I'm going to rock it up and down just like this in order to mince this out. Now, to keep it from bobbing around, I'll crush it first. Now, for the technique itself on the knife, let me get this off of here. I'll show you the way I'm going to do this. This part right here, it's on the back of the knife where it kind of bull noses over here. I'm going to put my fingers on that, and I'm going to take my thumb and I'm going to turn it under. So, just like this. And what this does is it allows me to kind of guide the knife a little this way, but also keep pressure on it. Okay, so I'm moving it from side to side with both hands, but this helps to do so. That's one way I can do that, and it also just helps bring control. In other ways, I can just swing it from side to side with this hand as I'm moving it back and forth. Usually I tell you to choke up on a knife, pinch the blade and do this. You can do that, but to me it doesn't really work as well. I go ahead and pull back on my handle for this one since I'm using both hands. And remember, you're not trying to cut through anything hard. This is gentle mincing. So, first thing, we crush it. That keeps it from bouncing around while we're trying to do our mincing. Now, first thing I want to do is just make some cross cuts on this to break it into smaller pieces. Isn't that nice? Okay. Now right there I have a very coarse mince. Okay. It's just kind of chopped up. It's not worth a darn. I'm going to take it down to much smaller than that. I want it sort of like a coarse Parmesan cheese, you know. Occasionally knock it off, and when you do, push away from that edge, okay? Not lengthwise, you can cut yourself that way. Isn't that neat? Is this my technique? Heck no, it's not my technique. This is an old French technique. It's been around for a long time, okay? After a little practice, you get good at that, and folks, in no time at all, you'll be making these beautiful fine mince just like this. Okay, this is ready to go down in our pan just like it is. Now guys, we're going to be cooking this up, and you have to look at this from the point of view of what takes the longest to cook and what cooks the fastest. And this is a really good lesson on learning how to know when to put something in the pan. If I throw my shrimp in there first and then put snow peas in a couple minutes later, guess what's going to happen? By the time the snow peas are done, that shrimp is then going to be curled up into a ball and it's going to turn rock hard. Folks, it only takes shrimp just moments to cook, okay? In fact, in this pan, when we cook up that shrimp, it's going to take, around 1.5 to 2 minutes for it to become fully cooked. You want it to turn red and firm, but not curl into a ball, okay? And you want it to stay kind of open in a C shape. While this is heating up, I'm going to take some of these and I'm going to just simply split them. How easy is that, huh? The reason I'm doing this, actually 2 reasons. I want to get some release of the acids and the juice of these tomatoes to form part of the juice of the whole dish. So I'm cutting them in half. I won't be using all of these snow peas. What I'm making here is basically a single serving, guys. We have 8 shrimp. I'm going to be using a handful of snow peas, about half of what I have there, and I'm going to be using these grape tomatoes. How do you know when your pan is hot enough? You hear me talking about get that pan to the right temperature to do a pan sear. Well, guys, there's actually a way to test your pan and know exactly when to do a pan sear. Let me zoom in on this guy. I want to take water and put it in my pan. If you'll notice, that water sizzled off, but it did so slowly. That pan is telling me, hey, I'm coming up in temperature, but I'm in no way hot enough to do a pan sear. You don't want any sizzling at all. If you're going to do a high quality pan sear, let's say if you're going to do scallops or something of that nature where you need a good caramelization crust on it, it's important to get the pan to the right temperature. And if that pan isn't at the right temperature, what's going to happen is you're going to get a steaming effect instead of a searing effect. Let's test our pan again. What happened now? It sizzled off quickly. That's our pan telling us we're getting there. It's getting hot enough, but I'm not hot enough yet. I love my pan sear lesson. It's really a cool way to teach getting that pan at the right temperature and to do so in a way that doesn't really cause people fear. What I'm looking for is for water to bead up and skate around in the bottom of my pan. Let's try it again. You see how that water is staying in there longer and it's starting to skate? That is the beginning of the temperatures that I'm looking for good quality pan sear. Now guys, in this particular dish, I don't necessarily need to get a pan sear condition. I just need a good hot pan. I need a pan that is really going to cook the vegetables, cook the fruit, cook that shrimp quickly. Look at this. Look at that water skating around in there. That's a pan sear temperature, guys, right there. And I have my heat set at a medium high at the moment. That was what I was heating it over. I'll put my peanut oil in this. Don't need much of it, a couple of tablespoons. A tiny bit of salt. I start with my snow peas, and they do not take long. And what I want them to do is to get a nice searing on both sides and to kind of, they'll puff up a little bit. As this happens with this high temperature, it causes your snow peas to turn sweet, and it's wonderful. Yummy. This whole process is not something that just takes a whole lot of time, okay? I'm getting those tomatoes to release a little bit. Getting the snow peas to cook down a bit. Let's take a look close at the color that we have on those snow peas, guys. I'm getting a little browning in here, see, on those edges? Isn't that nice? And that's what I want. That tells me, guess what? That snow pea has just turned sweet, okay? Now, we're gonna hit it with a couple of other ingredients and then throw our shrimp in there and finish this thing off. First, I want just another dab of the oil, just like that. We're gonna put in our soy sauce, and we're going to lightly dust it with ginger. And folks, I'm going to tell you, be careful with the ginger because it can overwhelm quickly. I increased my temperature to high. Now we're cooking. Oh yes, let's get our garlic. I'll tell you what, we're getting this beautiful odor coming up. It's magnificent. Shrimp goes in. There we are. And as I mentioned to you before, it isn't going to take long for those shrimp to get cooked up. They're going to turn red and they're going to be done. If you leave these in this heat for 5 minutes, you've ruined your dish, okay? So let's just make that clear right here and now. Your shrimp needs to be in the heat for just a couple of minutes, not for 5. And I want to keep the shrimp itself right in contact with my hot pan. Those vegetables, for the most part, they're cooked. They can stay warm in there as the shrimp finish off. So let's check our shrimp. Touch him, he's firm. I'm going to turn him over, he's still firm. Turn off that heat. And right now, it's time for him to come out of there. I believe when something's going to go out to folks to be eaten, you need to dress the dish a little bit. Even if it's something like this that has been stir-fried together, and that's what we did just now. This is called a stir-fry, folks. Don't worry, I didn't just become Chinese. I simply know how to stir-fry. But presentation means a lot. And so we want to get those tomatoes so the bright side is up, so we can see lots of the shrimp and plenty of the green. Oh, guys, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. Look at this. Shrimp, snow peas. Yummy. Oh. Mmm. Mmm. Oh, God. Mmm. I want to say, you're going to try this, and then you're going to be hooked on it. It's super easy, beautiful sweet flavors, healthy. It's fast, as you've seen. Bam! A little bit of cutting, tiny bit of chopping. The hardest part was thawing the shrimp, okay? So this is an easy dish for you. Guys, you enjoy this on the weeknights. Enjoy it in parties. Show it off to your friends. And please share this video. Thank you very much for watching Texas Cooking Today. To my subscribers, I would like to say cheers to you guys. Thank you very much for subscribing. And if you haven't, please do. Click the bell. I'm going to let you know when there is a new video coming out, and that happens usually on Thursdays, guys. So, as it is right now, releases on Thursdays, and it's always good stuff. Thank you for watching Texas Cooking Today, and hey, well, have a good day. Bye-bye.